In a quiet room where the light is softer than the shadows it casts, a figure stands before a mirror. Their smile is gentle, a practiced kindness reflected back at them, yet their eyes tell another story, one weighted with hesitation, the shadow of silent sorrow. It is a moment suspended between warmth and weariness, where the surface of kindness conceals the tremor of unspoken guilt. This is the paradox of the people pleaser, a kindness wrapped in obligation, a giving shadowed by an unseen burden. The air feels thick with the quiet tension of a heart caught between external generosity and internal conflict. What if the very kindness offered to others is less a gift and more a disguise? One worn to mask the twisting coil of guilt beneath. In this stillness, a question lingers. Can an act of giving be free if it is born from the fear of rejection? From a silent contract written in the ink of self-denial? What does it mean to please when the smile that greets the world is a shield for the sorrow held just out of view? The story of the people pleaser unfolds across a landscape of contradictions. On the surface, their kindness seems effortless. Warm greetings, agreeing smiles, gestures that soothe and accommodate. Yet beneath this generosity lies a paradox, a subtle distortion where kindness is tangled with guilt and obligation. This is a kindness that is not purely given, but given under duress. Not a freely flowing river, but a current trapped beneath an unseen ice. Psychologists have long observed this phenomenon, where the desire to be liked and the fear of being rejected create a tension within the individual. Attachment theory suggests that this fear, rooted in early relationships, can shape a lasting pattern of people-pleasing, as one seeks to maintain connection at any cost. The kindness shown is then a form of emotional currency, a way to earn safety and acceptance. Yet this giving is often paired with cognitive dissonance, a conflict between what is felt inside and what is offered outside. The people pleaser tells the world they are willing, ready, even joyful to give. But inside, a different story unfolds, one of fatigue, resentment, and the quiet erosion of self. Further deepening this mystery is Jung's concept of the shadow, the realm of hidden emotions and unacknowledged truths. For the people pleaser, the shadow often holds guilt and self-doubt, emotions that are so disowned they can only be projected outward as kindness. It is kindness that is, paradoxically, a form of self-distortion, an emotional mask worn to keep the inner conflict from view. Within this complex dance of love and fear, generosity and obligation, the people pleaser lives in a state of quiet sacrifice. It is a life colored by the longing to be seen and accepted, but also by the hidden price of that longing, the decay of authentic presence beneath the veneer of kindness. To truly understand the people pleaser, one must step into the quiet spaces where psychology and emotion entwine. There is an invisible contract signed in childhood where acceptance is exchanged for compliance. Attachment theory illuminates this path. When early bonds feel uncertain or conditional, the psyche learns to prioritize the needs of others over its own. This becomes a survival strategy to ensure connection, to avoid abandonment. Over time, this transforms into a habitual pattern of people-pleasing, where generosity is less about spontaneous kindness and more about navigating a complex emotional ledger. Psychologists call this dynamic, anxious, preoccupied attachment, characterized by an intense desire for approval, coupled with a persistent fear of rejection. This fear fuels the relentless cycle of giving, even at great personal cost. Alongside this lies the torment of cognitive dissonance, the mental split between reality and appearance. The people pleaser continuously negotiates between their true feelings and the persona they present, creating a dissonance that can fracture the sense of self. Their outward kindness becomes a mask, worn not only to please others, but to soothe their own inner turmoil. It is a performance, learned and rehearsed, that both comforts and confines. This performance often hides beneath a gentle surface the stirrings of resentment or exhaustion, emotions that are too painful or forbidden to acknowledge openly. Jung's shadow concept offers a profound lens on this experience, revealing how hidden guilt and unrecognized fears dwell in the unconscious. The kindness of the people pleaser is a complex projection, a way to keep these uncomfortable parts out of sight. In psychological terms, the shadow contains the repressed aspects of self that threaten the coherence of the ego. Here, the guilt about wanting to say no, the shame of imposing limits, or the silent rebellion against coercive kindness. This interplay creates a continuous internal tension, a folding and unfolding of the self that is both tender and tumultuous. Yet this story is not just one of struggle, it is also one of quiet resilience. The people pleaser, trapped in this emotional paradox, reveals the complexity of human connection, the simultaneous craving for belonging and the painful price it demands. To recognize this is to begin seeing past the surface, to grasp the bittersweet truth that kindness can be a guise for guilt, and that beneath the smile may lie a heart longing to be understood on its own terms. This discovery invites a gentle awareness, an opening to compassion, not only for others but for the parts of ourselves that seek to please at the cost of presence. It is here, in this delicate balance between giving and being, that the deeper journey begins, a movement toward authenticity that embraces both light and shadow. There is a certain quiet grief in realizing that what we have long mistaken for kindness is often a language of guilt. The people pleaser's heart speaks in gestures that are both tender and constrained, a dialect forged in the tension between love and fear. When we begin to understand this, the very nature of kindness shifts. It is no longer a simple gift, but a complex, layered expression of need and protection. This realization does not come with anger or blame. Instead, it unfolds with a soft, sorrowful clarity, an invitation to witness the hidden emotional landscape with gentle eyes. To stand for a moment in the presence of this truth is to feel the delicate tremors beneath the surface, the pulse of humanity that beats within the act of pleasing. It reveals the loneliness beneath the smile, the exhaustion behind the generosity, the quiet longing for authenticity that often goes unnoticed. This understanding transforms the way we relate, not only to the people pleasers around us, but to ourselves. Compassion blooms in this space where judgment falls away, where we recognize that many of us carry this burden in one form or another. The people pleaser's story becomes a mirror reflecting our shared human need for connection and acceptance, and the sometimes painful compromises we make to preserve it. In this light, kindness is no longer an uncomplicated virtue, but a delicate dance with our shadows. It is an act that asks for presence, a presence that is honest, flawed, and brave. The invitation is to see beyond the mask, to acknowledge the struggle beneath the surface, and to hold that story with tenderness. To do so is to open a quiet door toward understanding, toward a peace that arises not from perfection, but from acceptance. It is here that the tight grip of guilt begins to loosen, and the people pleaser may find room to breathe, not by pleasing more, but by simply being seen. The paradox of the people pleaser is a quiet lesson in presence, that it is not about perfection, but about truth. The kindness that was once a shield forged from guilt gently reveals itself as a gesture stretched between fear and hope. It is a kindness that is complicated, tender, and profoundly human. To hold this paradox is to embrace the unfolding complexity of self, not as a flaw to correct, but as a story to be lived. There is a rhythm here in the folding and unfolding of the mask, in the pull between pleasing and being pleased. It is not about breaking free from people-pleasing overnight, nor about erasing the guilt that shadows our generosity. It is about presence, the slow, steady awareness that sees not only the mask, but the heart beneath it. And in this presence, a new kind of kindness can emerge, one that is not a duty, but a choice, not a burden, but a gift given freely. The mirror no longer reflects contradiction, but continuity, the journey of becoming, where kindness is both imperfect and whole. In the end, it wasn't about perfection. It was about presence. It wasn't about pleasing others. It was about meeting ourselves with quiet compassion and letting the shadows find their place in the light.